Welcome guys to another episode of the Swala Nyeti podcast. This is episode 2 and I'm excited today because I have a very good friend of mine today on the set. I don't know if we are going to tackle anything serious today because this is someone I've known for a long time. She's a very good PR practitioner. She's very good at many other things that she will explain. Ladies and gentlemen, Emily Manjeru, aka Righteousness, aka the Smiling Machine. Ebuji, introduce me. I don't even know how to introduce you. I've known you too long. Just introduce yourself. Wakujua. Mimi sijui chenye nitawaambia.
Tumako Tani, I'm her righteousness.
And tell them where you got that name from.
His story for another day. But my official names, I'm Emily Manjeru. To many of my friends, I am Ninawa Ryan. But Mako Tani knows me as her righteousness because we bond over ugali and fish. And everything else from there is downhill. I am a PR practitioner. I am a communications expert. I say it because I have 10 plus years of experience. I'm a mother to amazing adults. Yeah. And I am a wholesaler of good vibes.
You have an entire... I don't even know how many hours you have in a day because some of us have 24. At 1 minute I see you eating wretch. The other minute you are somewhere in Zimbabwe, public speaking, and what. The next moment, uko sijui wapi. Tell us where you get all these hours from. Have you always been like this since childhood?
I have always been an energetic person. That's why I may have gotten this from my childhood. Ever since I was born, my mom tells me that I was very, very hyper. And someone at some point mentioned that I am a superstar, and that stuck with me.
So you're still a superstar now?
I'm still a superstar. Yes, I have always been on the forefront. One of my earliest childhood memories of being in the front was when I was maybe in primary, in pre-unit back then, which I think is PP1 now. We used to have those tiny blackboards where you write 50 plus 50 is 100, and that's a whole presentation on Parents' Day. Yes, but it's a beautiful thing that built my confidence from there. I was about 5 years old when that happened. And looking back, I felt that being in the limelight or being in public was something I really, really loved. Communications was something I really thoroughly enjoyed. And before I knew it, it's followed me to my adulthood. Maybe the child in me never grew up.
But one thing I always wonder, especially about this education system of ours, do you believe now that you know what you've always wanted to become, in primary school, in that lower primary school, all the way to probably high school, do you feel that education that you are getting was preparing you towards this direction that you have found yourself now? Because there's what you're normally passionate about, then there's what the education wants to instill into you.
Yeah. That's a good question because, to be honest, I haven't seen where my biology has taken me. Siezi kumbuka kwenye nimetumia logbook after high school. I can't tell you. But because I had always known the English and I knew that I was always inclined towards the arts. Maths, minayo, we were parallel. Clearly. We were never coming together. So in terms of the education system itself, it's very wanting because we would cram a lot and there were so many subjects. At the time, there were like 8 and they shrunk as time went by, and now the entire system has changed.
At some point, they were like 13.
13? Who lisama 13? You ulienda A level. You may have been at
watu wananiangalia kwa set like mimi ni octogenarian. I am sorry. Let's stick to 8. Let's stick to 8. Yes. 8 is safe.
8 is safe. Yeah. However, if we truly invested in the extracurriculars, that is your performing arts. You know, at the time, nobody thought that music is a career that you could pursue. Nobody ever experienced sports as a space for growing your career.
Just, for PE now.
Yeah. In fact, I remember having a really bad fight with my mom when I told her I want to go and pursue theater and performing arts at KU. She was like, what the hell?
It was not a career.
It was not a career at all. So the fact that I had to now hide it under Bachelor of Arts in Journalism to pursue what I really wanted to do spoke a lot to where our parents may have influenced how we picked our careers. The education system sort of enabled that, because then you'd find that your PE lesson has been taken over by math, or you wanted to go and perform at a school, but then you're being told, no, you need to revise for your biology exam. So I feel strongly that it is important to have the balance, because I would speak for myself and say, because I really passionately loved the performing arts, I enjoyed being on stage and speaking in public, it built part of the career that I have now. It has sort of taught me the significance of confidence, first of all. Secondly, as a communications professional, you get to experience empathy in different ways, because then, hey, you can perform to a tough crowd, and everyone has
cracking a joke, everyone's just looking at you.
Yeah. So if I was to say about the education system, I am hoping that the CBC curriculum would be able to build a group of people who are now self-confident, self-aware, and they are able to pursue whatever career they wish without having to wait until they get to college to decide what they really want to do.
Like you're studying so many subjects, most that you will never apply anywhere.
Sasa rocks ninaenda kutumia wapi? Rocks ninaenda kutumia, obsidian ninaenda kutumia.
You've reminded me how good I was in biology. Look at me now.
Yeah.
I was the best in biology now class.
What
Look
did
at
you
me
score?
now.
Kiswahili uliscore
I
nini?
don't even know where I applied it. The only thing that I still use up to now is my English.
Yeah, the literature as an editor.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to find that you're using past participle, or you're having to correct some of the press releases that would come from people like us?
That comes naturally, especially for coming from a background where my dad was also an editor. My uncle was an editor. So we were taught those things very early, how to check mistakes in the newspaper, because my dad actually used to buy newspapers, then cross out where the mistakes are.
Yeah.
So though in my head, every time I read something, when there's a mistake, I'm always like, look at this one.
You've actually mentioned something interesting. There's a columnist who used to be on The Nation, Philip Ocheng.
That's my uncle.
You're kidding?
Yeah, that's my
no way.
That's my uncle. That's my the elder brother to my dad, my late dad.
Was there like a line of journalists in your family, now that you mention it?
My uncle Philip, journalist, Robert Otani, my dad, journalist. My eldest brother practiced I think he still does. Jack Okinyi still does. My eldest sister, who is a banker, used to write for one of these Kina Drum magazines for a while. So I think it comes naturally.
It runs in the family.
I tried to run. Funny enough, I wanted to be a lawyer and an architect and many other things. Yeah. There's a way life just connived to bring me back to journalism. So I just accepted, and
this is you.
But I just wanted to try a different line from what everyone else was doing. Everyone else was doing print. Yeah. So I just said, let me create a different path. Because
in radio,
if you follow the same route, means you have to live in the shadow, and that comparison of why is he not like... And you can't outshine a pioneer. True. Like Philip and Robert are the pioneers of journalism in Kenya. I can't live in that shadow. Yeah. I have to create a different path where hata mimi watoto wangu ndaambia mfuate.
That is actually really important that you mention that, because then sometimes you find, because of the pressure of my family has been doing this, so there's expectation.
You have to be a doctor as well. Yeah. Then now you end up under pressure to be someone you're not.
Exactly.
Because you have to choose your own path and create now a different meaning for yourself. That's why I went radio for quite a while. Then now I'm fully digital, because I know none of them went through that. And I've also done TV a bit. So it's different, and I feel I'm not under any pressure to try and match up or try and probably interfere with that legacy that they have.
Yeah,
so you celebrate all sides of it. Yes,
you're officially Makotani of Swala, Nyeti.
Now I'm a digital publisher.
You're a digital, not blogger.
Yes. Wait, this interview was not yours. Wait. Back to
oh, it's about me.
Now, there's something interesting that we've discussed before. Is how before your career took off, you got a child or a son. How did that change you in terms of, it was at a time when now you're trying to start a career, but now you're also starting a career as a mother?
Yeah.
How difficult or how easy was it for you?
Motherhood, and especially motherhood when you're a teenager, can be very humbling. First of all, I am tiny. Let's start there.
Then you're making other tinies.
And then I'm making tinies when I'm looking like a little tiny ball.
A child having a child.
It was so pitiful. I'll be honest to say, if I sit back and look at the pictures that I had, it was actually pitiful to be a second-year student and you're trying to start your journey as a student, and then you become pregnant and everyone is like, what happened to this one? And then there's society looking at you like, this one won't amount to anything. Because for the most part, many teenage mothers were dropping out of school and they didn't have the drive, so to speak, to pursue anything else. And you find that there was now that ripple effect of now you've gotten your first child as a child, and then you find another child and another child. I had to really push through some serious stigma in school, stigma at home, stigma within the society. Because one, where we were as a family, and me being the firstborn of 3, and my siblings are in high school and they're all looking up to me. Our family was the poster family, First of all, the fact that I'm all beautiful, and then amepata ball.
Then suddenly,
Kwanza, now you know how balls wambukizana. My best friend at the time had also gotten a baby, so now ni kama it was contagious. It was really, really hard. I remember moments of serious loneliness. And because we were okay family-wise, but then we had gone through a really difficult financial situation at the time, where at some point I had to take semesters off school to go and actually work. You know those lorries where mtu umetumwa uende ukauze airtime? Yes. That was my first job. And I did it at 20 years old to be able to feed this young man.
Is airtime on offer?
Yeah. See, at the time, we were selling houses. You know how there's a promotion to push your sales of airtime so that someone can get lucky and win a house? I think those things are a scam, but that's a story for another day. But but the fact that I had to wake up, I had to feel the discomfort of being a teenage mom. I had to feel the pain of solitude, that this is now my life. But at the same time, feeling that this is now my life changed a lot of things.
And now another life.
It was, yes, because now I'm responsible for another life. And because I hold myself in high esteem, I had to get help to pull myself from that lack of self-confidence, because I can tell you there's a point at which it was shattered so bad, because everyone is looking at you different now. There's the loneliness.
And the judging eyes. So when I graduated, I delayed by 2 years. Everyone is graduating after 3 years. I took 5. But regardless, I finished. So that is where I got to feel that I'm getting back in the saddle. And performing arts again became the space that I would go to feel more comfortable, more appreciated, because that was my safe space. An outlet. Yes, it was an outlet for all the pain I was feeling, for all the shame I was feeling, because I did feel ashamed that I had let my family down, that I had let myself down. But I could see my son growing. He's not going to grow any younger. So I had to really pull myself back. And with the support of friends and people who saw my potential, I was able to now take those steps to get back
into really appreciating that I can contribute to the society, but more importantly, fend for that young man.
There are things that happen in someone's life that changes them permanently.
Yeah.
Do you believe having a son changed you? Would you have been a different person had you not gotten him when you did?
I don't know.
Career-wise, life-wise, do you think something would have been different?
I can't tell, because I have always been bright, bubbly, energetic ever since I was young. I tried to stay true to myself. So I can't tell you whether I would have changed into something else. I would possibly be doing the same things I'm doing now. Only thing is that I have to be responsible to remember that there's someone else coming after me. That's why I'm proudly Nyinawaran. Like, I use that moniker almost everywhere. In fact, hata watu wa Uber wananijua ka Nyinawaran.
So then it means somehow is the driving force behind some of the things you have done or you do.
He's reinforced who I am in very many ways. And especially I think because he's a young man, and me being a mother raising a man, I would want and I would desire for him to be a better version than his father would have been. Like a better example. I can tell you that boy is so charming. If he was to sit here, my God, he would take over.
I've seen him challenge you publicly.
You see? Yeah.
Then you're a public speaker, means somehow he learns from you, but then now he wants to take it to the next level.
Oh, yes.
But then some of those low moments, because they've been there and because of that period that you're talking about, then what was the drive for you? What made you not give up? Because now you have a career to pursue, but you still have motherhood to pursue. And you have to do all those things at the same time, within the same 24 hours that you have. What was the driving force? What made you not give up like many others who get children early and then they say, and they throw up their hands?
First of all, I'm fiercely competitive. I like to see myself win, even when I'm losing. I acknowledged to myself that this is me. The moment he was put in my hands, I remember that feeling like he was just born today, because I felt a certain overwhelming sense of responsibility that I have to be the example someone would wish to see. I would want to inspire him, importantly, not even anyone else, not even my family anymore, because he's my legacy. And I intentionally called him Ryan, because Ryan in Hebrew means king. So somehow, even for me, I wanted to feel like I'm a mother to a king.
To a king, yes.
And I use that even in the lowest of moments, because there were times that I was isolated from him. There were times I couldn't eat. I would eat like maybe one meal so that we could either afford rent or he could eat more than I could. And there were painful, difficult moments. So what kept me going is the fact that, one, I'm pretty.
Pause for effect.
Thank you. But two, the fact that I would want to leave a good legacy for him to know that mom did her best, regardless of the pain, and knowing, kwanza ukiachwa, friend, ukiachwa kwa mata, na ni wewe unalipa school fees, you have to...
Adulting starts.
Me and my adulting started sips.
Then now, how did you mix that with now starting a career? Because when I first met you, I think I was at Citizen and then you were at Jinadin.
Yes.
How did you now merge those two to start a career and make sure that career doesn't get derailed at any point because of now the things happening in your personal life?
My personal life, I have had moments where my personal life has also affected my job. I have had moments where my job also affected my personal life. So to be able to balance the two, you can't do it alone. Let no one tell you that, oh my God, because I'm a single mom, I did. No. I am grateful to my family, my mom, my brother, my sister, and all the house helps who came and went that were there to hold fort when I was away.
The support system.
The support system. We can never take away from the need to have a support system, because when we pretend to, oh my God, I'm strong, I'm healthy, I can do this, you will lose it. And I'm grateful that the work environments I have always had have been patient with me, have been patient with the fact that I am raising this young man by myself. And they've given me the space to be a mom and the space to also really pursue. But because they have done that, I owed it to them to be able to perform at my best. Yeah. And I really pushed hard. Though there was a time when things were really hard.
You wanted to give up.
I think I almost got fired for the simple reason that somehow there was a whole storm happening in my life. And because of that storm, I had almost forgotten the need to balance between myself as an individual, my career, and my son.
That was at Jinadin?
No. That was after Jinadin.
After Jinadin, okay.
So someone gave me a come to Jesus moment. A proper come to Jesus moment, because I was messing up. And you don't want to mess up when your employer is watching. Told me to draw my name in the middle of a circle. And then I drew the different persons I am. I'm a sister, I'm a mother, I'm a career woman, I am a performer, I'm all of these things, right? You can never change all of those who you are. But then you have to be very decisive about when you show up for which ones. There's nothing like work-life balance. I am a firm believer.
Balance, yeah.
I believe in what my boss calls work-life integration. You have to learn to integrate. And when you need the support, call for it. When you need to be a mother, delegate and be clear with a colleague that I need help with holding fort here and here. But then don't leave a burden, because someone will be like, sasa, hii ni kama nimerushiwa mzigo. Something that I learned over time. Of course, I never got it right all the time, but that's a big lesson that I learned about when I was starting my career to where I am now.
You've been around in the PR world for more than a decade.
Yeah.
You've gone through Jinadin and many others in between. There's a time you are a freelance. Selling phones. Yes. During that, a lot has changed in the communication and in the PR world.
Absolutely.
What have you noticed in that entire period that you've been in the PR world? And probably what would you tell someone who is getting in now, knowing what you know about that entire journey and transformation?
Wow. Traditional media back then was there. That's how I knew Makotani. Let me tell you, if you sent your press release and Makotani hasn't published, you need to explain to your client. Sisi, you PR people.
Some people come for me.
You PR people can relate. There was a time when you needed to have your story in the mainstream media. Hata kama it's the scroll. I remember pleading. Yes, for business news. Yes, so you have 10,000 other stories imeingia kwa roundup. And why? Maybe because of the relationships of the organizations that came through. But as we continue to transition, the digital space became bigger. It had started as what at the time was called bloggers. Now you're called digital what?
Digital publishers.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Bloggers to mention watu fulani, I will not mention. Because wanaweza anza hashtag ya kunilima.
Swala Nyeti.
Someone tell Swala Nyeti.
Someone tell.
Na tunajaribu kujenga podcast.
I see. Yes. So especially because people began to realize that citizen journalism is the space. And it started especially when the digital space had its own set of clientele. And we began to build communities that fragmented the traditional media significantly. Now more than ever, social media, I think, especially when it comes to video content, is the new space for PR. Completely. Yeah. We're seeing how the traditional media globally, not just in Kenya, is weakening. You first see it on TikTok before you even see it on mainstream media. And if our traditional media really don't harness that strength, it becomes a real problem. Yeah. We still need to hold to the fundamentals of journalism, because those help create credibility. Those help create a certain level of excellence that we cannot let go of. But at the same time, we need to start listening to our audience. because that is where people are going. I came to Swala Nyeti because Mark is my friend. And then
telling your story.
Telling my story. And then you find that because you have built your community, and now if I needed some bit of publicity, we would have a conversation. Yeah. It has built more relationships between brands and organizations, while traditional media may have felt like, oh my God, the Holy Grail at the time. A lot has changed, and it's going to change even further because podcasts and other things and other spaces are beginning to really, really grow.
And things are moving
Hopefully
fast.
At some point, I'm going to be an influencer.
Things are moving very fast.
Very fast.
Originally, I was a digital publisher. Now you see, I must start a podcast as well.
You see,
Next 1-2 years, something else might come up, and you have to adapt your content to those because as things change, also the audience moves to that.
100%.
How are you still talking to
your audience? I'm curious
in
to
a way
hear.
that they love.
I know you'd spoken about this in your previous episode, but then I really want to hear what is the pain of having a fragmented audience, because then if we as a brand may need you, and there's 10 other people who also need you, and some of them may have, what is it called, conflict of interest. Yeah. How then do you deal with that as a media house yourself?
Conflict of interest in terms of?
Like if now the two biggest, what are they called? Service providers of airtime.
Okay.
If they came to you and they say, we want you to support us because that's where it's going. How then do you get to balance the interests?
I think how we normally do it is we partner with brands on what they want told. Doesn't mean I belong to that brand. Doesn't mean that brand owns me. They just own how I tell the story. If they like how I tell their story, then we continue partnering. Because what I normally say is I'm not in the business of destroying brands. Like one brand will not come to me to
troll the other.
Yes, to troll the other or attack the other. You want me to tell your story in the best way possible.
True.
To the niche audience that I serve. So whichever brand comes on board, they already like what we are doing. They want us to do the same for them. So I'm never worried about this brand will say I should not work with the other brand for this. Because very few brands buy exclusivity. See, if you're an influencer, it's different. But if you're a publisher, you're telling stories.
Yes.
How best do you want me to tell your story so that your brand comes out better than the other brand that you're competing with? It's not me who is competing with the brand, it's you brands that are competing. So I normally look for the best way to tell the stories about each unique brand. Because even those top brands that you say, whether it's telcos or it's banks, because for example, I work with more than one banks. None feels like I'm not giving them enough attention because I'm telling your story in a way that it's not being told. It's not being told before. So the best way is normally to partner with a brand. You will understand that brand better. Then it's easier for you to tell that story in a unique way than worrying about who is fighting and competing with.
I think that's exactly what has collapsed the traditional media. Because there have been very many interests from different organizations, but you have the autonomy to be able to customize to the brand as they would so desire. At the end of the day, they want the publicity, right? Yes. I like that.
And
I like
also
that.
It's easier for us to tell stories in a way that is not the traditional way of telling it, where it's a news item, full stop. You see, I'll give you an example. When a bank is launching a product, most TVs will only tell they have launched something. Full stop.
Or even
this is what it will do, full stop. The next thing they will show is an advert. Right? But now if I have the same product, means I will give you the nitty-gritties of how that product will change your life, how it works, what you need to do in a way that is now personal to you and personal to the brand. So that you understand more about that particular product than having to watch it. You see, adverts embellish things a lot. But now when I break it down into a language you understand, means it's easier for you to now get, so this is how it works. This is how I can access it. Then I direct you to where to go and to get that assistance. And then because I partner with a brand, that brand can respond to any questions that I ask about that particular product. Makes it a bit easier to
Exactly. And also the brand becomes smarter because then they have to start customizing because they know that you're the catchment area for their audience.
Yes, that's niche also helps because now they also know who you are talking to.
Exactly.
So that when they bring a product, you partner on it, and then it's not well received on your platform, they know that is not for this platform, it's for another. Because 100%. Now there are a number of niche platforms. Each one serves a different audience. Yes. So it's easier for them to see what fits on Swala, Nyeti and what doesn't.
Exactly. And I guess that's where everything is going.
Yeah. You tailor everything to a particular.
Yeah. But I'm liking how media houses can also start to adapt to this space, because some, like the BBCs of this world, now have podcasts that you can pick wherever. And at the same time, they translate that into media houses, which is now exactly what you're saying. I like
Makes it easier for consumption, because
exactly.
I think before people used to assume there's only one person you're speaking to. Now you have to decide how many people you're speaking to and how do you speak to those particular people. Precisely. That's why Kina BBC, when they do Kina podcast, it's targeting a certain person. When they are doing the publishing, it's a different person. When the radio and all that. The only thing I know that is suffering now is newspapers.
Big time.
Yes.
Big time. Yes,
newspapers are really struggling. But also those media houses that run newspapers have to find creative ways of telling the same story differently.
Yeah. Because I've seen how for newspapers, there's something that from a PR perspective, PR is earned. But then because for the most part we're fronted as a brand, there's how the earned relationship between you and I has to somehow part with a check on the table, because you need to feed those people.
Yes. And you're running a business.
And it's becoming costly, very, very costly. So the struggle I've observed is that I'm not too sure how the digital newspapers are picking.
It's a difficult one. I've also been asking the same question about in the Kenyan context when you put a paywall.
Yes.
A paywall, but then you put the same stories that many other platforms that
are giving.
Are giving for free. You see, when you put exclusive content, I would understand, for example, there's a business publication, I'm sure you know it. Mm-hmm. When they put a paywall, I would understand because they serve a niche market.
Exactly.
And they have exclusive content.
Sure.
What I have a problem with is, for example, a platform that does a lot of he said, she said kind of content of politicians, then you put a paywall and it's not an exclusive content. I will go to another platform
and still get the story.
And still see the same story. So what are you putting the paywall for? I don't know if that makes sense.
It's food for thought, anyway. Yeah.
But talking of how things are changing in communication and PR, there's now AI started a long time ago, but now is when now it's really picking, and now it's touching on everywhere, and it's changing anything.
Big time.
Many things. How is it changing your career path of PR and communication?
At least I can use ChatGPT.
And then you leave long dashes.
Yes, the long dashes
can
in between.
Can we convert this to you into... Actually, there are 2 newspapers this week that forgot to remove...
my God, I saw that.
What comes after you? Can we change this to a shorter summary?
Where was the editor? Ama we have trusted.
And then it's print. You cannot go back and edit.
You can't go and rub.
How is it changing your PR world? It has pros and cons.
It has its pros and cons, I can assure you. Yeah. The pros is that it has made our work easier. Because back then, the challenge or the opportunity was that you needed to be the one to create speeches like from scratch. You can imagine now Swala Nyeti as your CEO has come, he wants to make a speech at the president, and then you need to think like him. And then writing, especially from the writing side, it has made a lot of work easier. Another thing is it has also sort of made research a lot faster, because then it's able to bring all of this information for you to be able to verify. However, it has also challenged us to be more critical with thinking, because then you need to be very, very keen to distinguish between fake news, because it can be created.
It can pick from somewhere.
Yes, and now being able to critically see where the research and the information is coming from. So from a PR perspective, it has encouraged us to be more observant, more critical with research, but at the same time, it has really made it difficult, because I don't know whether we will have PR in a certain period of time. It's beginning to fade because a brand may decide, us as an organization, if I train like 5 people on AI, the graphics design watakuwa sawa. I just go to ChatGPT and I tell them what I want.
Logos, you can do press release.
You can do many things
people
now.
say it has made practitioners lazy.
It is true. It is true because it can create for you.
Because you find press releases sounding and looking the same.
Yes. Now that is where it needs to distinguish you as a professional, because you're being trusted with hundreds of thousands of shillings. I mean, you've seen the numbers of zeros when a PR practitioner tells you retainer as an organization. It has also challenged us to be more competitive, because then you get to complement what AI is giving you. Where sometimes you would think that all you needed to provide was just a press release, a speech, and you can continue. You're now being challenged to think about, how do I disseminate this information to my client's audience? And how best to be able to create it in such a way that it's dynamic, it's unique, it's exciting. There's a conversation that's going on about Coca-Cola and the Christmas ad. I don't know if you've seen that. Now, for PR practitioners who are believing in the Coca-Cola spirit of Christmas, they would have to really think about how to build those relationships at the village level to maintain the brand. So the question is, how are you complementing what AI is giving you, as opposed to just picking and dropping? The folly of AI is that it makes it feel impersonal. You as a professional have to be the one to bring the human voice to a
humanize
speech.
it.
That's where the opportunity is.
Because even in this field of ours, many things have changed. And you can't deny the fact that AI is making work easier.
True.
What it should not do is replace you and your, probably the tone that your publication normally uses. It should not replace it, where now you are relying on AI to do everything and you do very little.
Yes.
Because now you'll sound robotic more than anything else.
Yeah. I mean, you're being paid top dollar to think. So it's either you evolve with the space, see how to leverage the existing platforms, and use AI to complement how you deliver the work.
Yes, I think that works.
Yeah.
Away from PR, you've suddenly, or over time, become very passionate about public speaking.
Yes.
And I know you have a serious squad. I call it squad. I know you have another name for it, but I call it a squad because I've experienced that squad.
Where?
At a certain event. Public speaking.
Yes.
What does it mean for you? And why are you so passionate about it? Because nowadays I see you more on that space than anything else.
Public speaking for me is healing the lack of self-confidence I may have experienced at some point. What we call the fear of public speaking is as real as death, the fear of death, or the fear of spiders, or the fear of snakes. And it's called glossophobia. Repeat after me, glossophobia.
That is fear of public speaking.
Yes. Now, as adults, we have so many life experiences that may have influenced how we reach out to you and I, to the rest of the world, and insecurities. The question of how will people see me? The question of what will people think? How do I present myself? I'm grateful that I started at a young age to speak in public, and it grew with me. And all the platforms through my life have allowed me to really harness that talent, if I could call it that. But then the more I get into this public speaking space, the more I realize that we adults need a lot of motivation. A lot of encouragement to be able to go out there and tell our stories. If we don't tell our own stories, who will? And how do you tell your story if you cannot speak up for yourself?
Public,
yes. So the passion for me is to probably motivate and be that number one cheerleader for people who are really struggling with glossophobia.
Cheerleaders.
Yes, we love clapping. So in what the squad he's talking about is Toastmasters. Toastmasters International. It's a global society of professionals who are it's a worldwide network of clubs that come together to create a safe space. It's a safe space because then it's target practice for you to become a better leader and a more effective communicator. So in Kenya, we have more than 10,000 clubs, 41,000 clubs. And we look forward to growing a network globally because then we realize that it's a real issue. It's a real issue when the politicians we have cannot put sentences together.
Yet they make your laws. So
it's a real issue. It is a real issue when people that we look up to, that we aspire to lead us, cannot put sentences together to influence the society in the right direction.
And they go for benchmarking trips on your behalf.
The values.
The values,
yes, because at the end of the day, the values that we hold as a society, and for Toastmasters, it's respect, integrity, service, and excellence. So those values need to be translated to the community, and they relate very much with me. And that's why it's so passionate for me that we need more positive voices. We've had enough negativity. Social media can be very draining, and we need to have more people who are doing the right things being able to speak up
as their role models.
Yeah, that's why it's passionate for me.
Okay. And now combine that with your transition to the development space.
Yes.
And there's a lot that you do with the Smile Train.
Yes.
And also the inspiration of you joining, because there's what you think when you're joining a course or an organization, then there's what it turns you into. What is that lesson, that transition into development world and now to Smile Train? How has it changed you, and what have you learned in that process?
Smile Train especially is an organization that provides free cleft care. Is a whole issue about the facial difference. When you have children or adults who live to 60, 70 years old with a gap on the roof of their mouth or even into the palate, and they have lived that entire life like that, it's a life lost. There's a certain experience that you miss out on because people looked at you different, that there's some level of shame and
also
bullying.
It messes your confidence.
Significantly. So when I transitioned from the corporate world into the development world in PR, the same rules still apply, but then the language needs to feel more advocacy oriented. I'm seeing more than ever now, organizations are building their corporate investment departments because then there has to be a societal connection to it. And I'm loving that we are now more than ever from the development world really beginning to talk about topical issues. For us at Smile Train, it's more about advocating for safe surgery, not just for children, but also for adults. So when I look at the development world from a communications perspective, it's reaching out with the voices of patients who have gone through the pain of shame, the pain of isolation. And yet, if the government really invested in surgery, if they really invested in the whole ecosystem, it would save many lives. It would save many families from having to throw their children away for a surgery that could take 45 minutes or less. When now I look at my own transition as well, I see it as a space where we really need to keep the development world accountable. We need to keep organizations like WHO accountable. We need to keep governments accountable, because when we are creating all these SDG goals and making them feel like hot air, we need to ask, what are the actual steps we are taking towards universal health coverage? We need to start having honest conversations about how are we asking governments to invest in people when it comes to brain drain, because we are losing surgeons. we are losing medical professionals to the outside world. Why? Because they can't pay. And it's very unfortunate, I must say, when we are saying we are building jobs abroad when we haven't supported our own local professionals. It's a bit wanting to send nurses out of the country when we need them here.
A shortfall.
Yes. Now, I appreciate Smile Train because of investing in local capacity. And that's the passion that I have, that we need to start looking at how do we build the local capacity to take care of themselves, that in the event I lose the space here, in the event donors pull out, that there's already a foundation for a patient who has come from West Pokot, that they don't need to go so far. They have been made well aware that the nearest hospital can treat this condition. So how I feel I contribute is that I really would wish that we can work with hospitals, we can work with community media, which is now where the spaces are, to really sensitize communities that cleft is not a curse, that it's treatable. And the earlier you can treat it, because at the age of 3 months, you can actually get the cleft lip treated and the child can go on with their life. At the age of 9 months to a year, the cleft of the palate, to be able to say ara aero factor, can be treated, and the child can go through life without having to feel like they have something wrong with them. We are the ones who got lucky, actually, because every 3 minutes somewhere in the world, there's a child who's born with a cleft, and it really affects their breathing, their eating, their speaking, their lifelong challenges if they haven't gotten the treatment in time.
And it's a good thing that you're putting smiles back on faces of deserving children. Hosting is very difficult because stories never end.
I know. I'm curious, from your perspective, especially as the media professionals, when we come to you as organizations or as the development world, we are relying on donor investments, and we are always weighing between, oh my God, media, and then there's you guys who need to keep your job. What would be the balance that needs to be struck, maybe between the development world and its reliance on donor investment versus the competition when it comes to investment in the media space?
I normally say collaboration and understanding who you're partnering with. And also when you approach a media house, probably on something you want done or something that is valuable to an organization, it's easier to first pitch a story and understand how best that media can cover it than throwing them at from my end, we call it a press release.
Yes.
I don't want to use strong words, but I don't like being at the receiving end of information. I want to be part of that process.
I see.
Makes it easier to tell a story. Makes it easier for you to also give value to your donors. The same way it's easier for me to give value to you as the person who is coming to get coverage.
Yeah.
Than getting a press release at the end of it at there's the PR world. I hope this email finds you
for your kind coverage considerations.
But sometimes it feels plastic when it's on that receiving end of a press release. And I think because of the number of organizations we have partnered with, now they see things a bit better, because we also do trainings with agencies and some of the PR agencies to understand better how our field works and how to make storytelling for them better. Than you send something, then you expect to be told a certain way.
Yeah.
Then when we twist it, you don't. PR people don't like when we change or rework whatever you have sent us.
Do you know the layers of approval?
Yes. Sometimes for the sake of our clients, we need to change a few things for it to be palatable. So sometimes it's better when you come and explain it early, then we understand. Then now I tell it in my own way for easier consumption.
Yeah, thank you.
Sadly.
And
there must be an episode 2 and episode 3.
To be continued over it.
Now that you're holding the glass, I will use AI language From Toastmasters to Masters.
Cheers. Yes.
Was that Masters, and I know it's a long journey for you as you conclude. Does that Masters change your next phase career-wise and life-wise?
Does it? I don't know. Well, it's a good paper to have.
Yeah.
Especially because you take so long in the working journey. I feel it gives you that leverage over the next person, but then it also challenges you to really invest in yourself continuously. I don't necessarily have to transition to a PhD, but then I have to make sure that if I'm saying I'm a master's graduate, that I am definitely well-knowledged or well-versed enough in my space to be able to give advice and counsel. Will it advance something in my career? I pray so. Well, I'm a master's graduate after all. But more importantly, it's not about the paper. It's about the value that I bring. We have very many of my colleagues who are master's graduates, but they still feel like they're lagging. The weakness of, again, back to the conversation of education, is that we are so pegged on the papers that we forget that we can be more.
It's more than papers.
Yeah, we are more than papers, that you can actually explore how much more can I give as value than the fact that I have a master's on my CV. That you can be, yes, a master's in communications, but then I can train in public speaking because I'm investing in that direction. I can be a master's graduate and I can still MC an event, you know, being able to see things from beyond just the academic papers.
Yeah. That's a good place to end it with a punch. And I know at some point I'll still bring you back to discuss many other things, because I don't think we've even scratched the surface. And I hope when we invite, next time we'll have fish.
I know, that would be nice.
Yes, and it's always a pleasure to host you.
Yeah.
And I hope I can only wish you well in your next phase, because I know it's a bigger phase than where you are now.
Yeah.
And given the things you're doing in now the development space, we can only wait to see what happens next.
Absolutely. And I also want to really congratulate you from being the editor that you must really call.
See, now you still
now
must
becoming
call
a
me.
media mogul now. You know, we can call you a media mogul at this stage. So,
Mimi na SK Media Owners hippie.
You see, it's a fantastic platform, and I really celebrate the journey you've gone through.
Thank you very much.
The friendship over decades. You
Thank
know,
you
it's amazing to see
support.
this. Good job. Good
Asante
job.
sana.
Asante. So, Rech?
Yeah, of course.
Wonderful.
And as we always say on the Nyeti podcast, let's talk about it. So let's talk about the next episode during the next episode. Thank you for watching today's podcast. And thank you for giving us the pleasure of hosting you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.